Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go with the next 30-minute piece. With the 252. Okay, we're gonna go with the 352. So we're gonna go with the next segment of this. I'm trying to do these in 30-minute blocks, but try to get it all done at the same time, as much as I can anyway. So let's go ahead and go to the next segment. And I had a correction I had to make. Uh, and I kept looking at it and I kept saying to myself, man, what is going on with this? Okay, let's go back over this because I had to correct it. And again, I make mistakes. When I do, I got to make sure I correct them, right? Ain't no pride here. Um, so we were talking about the Sabbath, which equals moeds, and they are all appointed times, right? And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So the word rested, as we're looking at, the word rested is Strong's number 7673. Shabbat or Shabbat, you'll hear that, to rest, to cease from labor, right? So this is what he did. Now, in the other books, we can show you that in the Shamayim or in the heavens, they're doing the same thing. They're keeping the Sabbath, they're keeping these feast days. Now, but and I kept looking, I said, well, wait a minute, man, because this is a Sheen bed, and then the Tav, I had the Dalit, Sheen and Tav. It was something like, I'm like, wait a minute, that don't even say nothing. But this right here says Shabbat. And basically, when I break it down, right, each one of these letters, like I've showed you before, means Elohim Almighty, the destroyer, rested at an ordained time in creation. So that's why it's so important. Now, let's get back to where we was at before. And let me go ahead and do the right thing. All right, let's get going. I had to correct that. So for those that know, then you see it's been corrected. And I apologize for that. But again, sometime I'm up here 3 or 4 o'clock, whatever. I don't know. Spirit be waking me up sometimes. Sometimes I know what it means. I gotta get on the computer. I gotta do some studying. I gotta do something. So the book of the covenant, we was talking about that, right? About and Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahuwah and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which Yahuwah has said, we will do. Now, they were sprinkled with blood, right? Which represents the consummation of a marriage. Anytime there's a virgin, she's betrothed. And once they consummate the wedding in Hebrew culture, that she had to come out with a sheet or a garment with blood on it. So this is what this represents. That's why it's so strong. And Moses wrote all the words of Yahuwah, because this is why you got to understand. That's why this covenant, it's a covenant. It cannot change. Like when they say the new covenant, no, it's renewed. It means renewed or repaired. Why? Because he told us the people, that wasn't nothing was wrong with the covenant. It was the people that something was wrong with, right? So Exodus 24:4, and Moshe wrote all the words of Yahuwah and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill, 12 pillars, which represents according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahuwah has said, we will do and be obedient. So these are the vows they're exchanging, right? Now, testimony which are educed, H5707, witness, testimony, evidence of things. So I think we touched this one too. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, write thou these words, for after the tenure of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So the 10 commandments are the words of the covenant, or they can be looked at as a testimony. You're going to see this, right? Now, the book of the covenant would become the book of the law because of disobedience and placed outside of the ark for a witness. We're going to prove that to you down here because we went through this, right? And how it was supposed to be placed outside the ark for a witness against you. We went back and showed you that a testimony is a witness. Let's go to 2 Kings. I want to show you because people say, well, how could it be? That's impossible. It was the book. How could the book of the covenant and the book of the law? They're two different books. No, they're not. They're not two different books. I'm going to show you that. It's the same book. Same exact book. Great job for understanding. The 2 Kings 22. This is how you got to get to the bottom of stuff. But what does all this got to do with what these last two philosophers said? We're going to show you what it has to do with it. 2 Kings chapter 22. Josiah was 8 years old, and when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. and his mother's name was Jediah, or Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Boshkath, and he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. So he was walking the path, right? And this takes us right back to the statutes and judgments. Don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right, right? And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of Yahuwah, saying, go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of Yahuwah, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people, and let them deliver it unto the hand of the doers of the work that have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahuwah, to repair the breaches of the house, unto carpenters and builders, masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. See? Everybody was trying to walk the path. And Hilkiah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the what? The book of the law in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king and brought the king word again, and said, thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it unto the hand of them that do the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest hath delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes. Now, let's see, let's jump down a little bit more. Verse 16, thus says Yahuwah, behold, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah hath read. Why? Because it was the book of the law containing the curses. Because they have forsaken me. That's the problem. This is what's causing problems with Israel. No matter where they are, no matter who they are, this is why you're having problems. But the people won't read, they refuse to hear because of the philosophers. Now let's keep going. Because they have forsaken me and they have burned incense unto other Elohims, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place and shall not be quenched. And we see how his wrath is kindled against all this whole world right now. That's why everything is out of control. But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuwah, thus says, shall you say to him, thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before Yahuwah, when thou heardest what I spake against this place and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and has rent thy clothes and wept before me. I also have heard thee, says Yahuwah. Behold, therefore I will gather thee into thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered into thy grave in peace. So what does that mean? That means whenever this happens, he's going to be in Abraham's bosom. And thine eyes shall not see all the evil which I will bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. Because so what you got to remember now, see, this brother, he, like I said, he didn't turn to the left, he didn't turn to the right. He was keeping the commandments, he was walking straight. And then now they actually find the book, right? But Yahuwah was pleased with him because he humbled himself and acknowledged his wrong, if he had any. See, that's why we always ask Yah for forgiveness for our sins, transgressions, and iniquities. We hoping we don't have no iniquity, because that's perverseness. But we know we're going to sin, right? And we hope we don't transgress. So this is why we always got to watch ourselves, right? And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of Yahuwah. So it's the same book. Same book. It's just Again, it was the book of the covenant that Moses was, because Moses was steady, right? He's like a secretary. Yahuah was telling him everything, and here come Moses. He's steady writing everything down. He's writing everything down because remember that the 10 commandments or the covenant is contained in statutes and ordinances. We've showed this before, but I always got to go through the same thing because we might have new people that just come. I mean, we end up getting like maybe 12 new people that popped up here just off of a Marcus Garvey video. And I'm hoping that they go ahead and go forth and look at some of the that look at some of the channel and try to see some things, right? Never know why Yahuah sends people and has them do what they do. I don't even know why he had me put this class up on Marcus Garvey, but it draws some more people here. So hopefully if it's just one or two of them that do research and they might already be studying. I don't know. But it's going to be the same way when I put the video up here about Drew Ali. John 13:34, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Now we got to look at this because in the video, the brother was saying a new commandment. So in other words, what did he say? Well, you don't have to worry about the old thing because this is new. New means new. That's what he said, right? All right. Now, when we look at this word new, we get the word kainos, kahinos, a Greek word 2537, recently made, fresh, recent, unused, unworn. So it does seem like it's a brand new thing. But how can it be brand new when we go to Leviticus 19:18, and it says, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuah. And we know that the Mashiach was Yahuah Elohim while he was in the spirit before a body was made for him and he put on flesh. So he's the one that told this. And this is why he came saying it. So we know it's not brand new. So that means what do we do now? It's not new, it's ancient, right? It's an ancient saying, so it's not a new thing. So there is no new law of Christ. See, so that wipes that whole philosophy out the window. It rubs it out. I mean, it puts water on the fire. It's nothing but smoke, and it's nothing. See, so what we got to do is we got to use one of the tools that Yahuah has given us, right? Now, and I'm going to show you this here too. This is something else I want to, because we're going to get back to this one, but I want to show you this as well. Now, it says Mark 10:19. This is when he was talking to the rich man, to show you that he also is talking about statutes and judgments, as well as commandments. He said, you know the commandments. You shall not murder, commandment. You shall not commit adultery, that's a covenant. You shall not steal, covenant. You shall not give false testimony or witness, covenant. You shall not defraud. Wait a minute. Honor your mother and father. So where's this defraud? This defraud is not in the 10 covenant words or the 10 sayings or the 10 commandments or the covenant commandments. It's not there. But when we go to Leviticus 19:13, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Now, here it is. This was mentioned. And what happened? What did it say? What did the Mashiach say? It said the Mashiach loved him. Why? Because not only did he understand the covenant, he's looking at the statutes and judgments as well. See? So there's nothing that's new in this book. You just have to know where to find it. So let's go further. Now, for Israel, everything required by the covenant was a matter of life and blessing, if properly observed, or of death and cursing, if ignored or forsaken. That's a fact. So what do? We use the New Testament Greek to Hebrew dictionary, right? So we came back from G number 2537, right? And then we went ahead and converted it and got the word hadash, right? Convert. And it means something renewed, restored, or repaired. Just that simple. Well, let me see something. Hold on a minute. Like I say, I'll be up early in the morning. Sometimes I'll be missing stuff. And so I want to make sure that I can give you the perfect thing that you need. Let me see. 2537. And it's going to be Hebrew word number 2319. So I missed that. 2319. Right? All right. So this is how you get to the bottom of things. Because we just got done seeing with our own eyes, it's not a new thing. So we have to figure out, we got to be able to go back to the original language that they were speaking, because even though it's written in English, they still were speaking it because they was Hebrews. So you go back to the Hebrew language, and this is what you get. It's a renewed, restored, or repaired. That's all. Just like the covenant, it's going to tell you the same thing. When anytime you see something that says new, it's renewed, restored, or repaired. All right? It's just that simple, y'all. It's not a hard thing. So again, according to the philosopher, we find him again being a liar. Now let's keep moving. Now, back to business. Let's get to part 3. Yahuwah does not change. Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahuwah, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Because boy, it's a good thing if he does not change, because he would have consumed us right now. Do not think that I am come to abolish, destroy the law, which is the covenant of or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. So and I'm saying once we get through, we got 2 more videos we're going to look at, and I'm going to show you how to be able to spot these things. Because see, again, they understand that they already brainwash you to stay in half of a Bible. So when you see the law, you've been programmed to think, oh, that's the law. You don't even know what law he's talking about, because there's many of them. We're going to show you that. See, but this covenant, it's a covenant. It's a covenant. Blood was sprinkled. It cannot be changed. The only way it could be changed is by death. And that's why the Mashiach had to come and die as the adulterous woman. Because of this, because the covenant was broken. So somebody had to die. But then he's going to come around, and if you can make it, and if you die and you in Abraham's bosom, or if you get caught up after the tribulation of those days, not before the tribulation. I'm going to show you, we got some other classes we're going to put up here, because I keep seeing these Christians and they keep talking about, how, that you're going to get caught up before no, nothing is going to go down until Judah is gathered. Judah is the key to all this. And we're going to show you that in other lessons. But Judah got to be gathered first. See, until Judah shall the gathering of the people be. That's an old lesson. Old lesson. We're going to show you some of that in this lesson right here. So let's keep rolling. Now, Exodus 12:35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moshe, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment. So borrow is Strong's number 87592, sa'al. It means to desire, require, borrow, salute, or demand. So they demanded the gold from the Egyptians. But then, just to show you how he don't change, in Zechariah 14:14, it said, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together. The same thing, gold, silver, right? Look at this, gold, silver, and raiment and apparel in great abundance. This is why I don't worry about getting rich. You don't have to worry about getting rich right now. You just walk the straight path. Don't turn from the left. Don't turn to the right. Because guess what? This is all going to be ours anyway. We're going to spoil these heathens just like they've been spoiling us. Same way we spoiled them back in Egypt. All you got to do is be spiritual Israel. That's the key to this thing. So again, but the philosophers, you see them, you see their lifestyle. This is all they're worried about: gold, silver, and apparel. They give you some fairy tales, right? And you go along with it. Instead, you pay them to give you fairy tales. We don't do that around here, so we don't worry about that. We just let it. It is what it is. Exodus 9:24. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation. Revelation 8:7, it's going to happen again. The first messenger sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and there were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burned up, and all green grass was burned up. See, I mean, there's so many things you can see how he does, and before he does not change. So it's no way possible. This is the same Elohim that got the message from his father, And he in the spirit form telling you about these commandments and how you should keep them. And even in Exodus chapter 20, when he gave the commandments, he gave you another tidbit and told you about how you keep, if you keeping the commandments, how, you know, his mercy gonna last forever, for generation to generation. And then he gonna come in the flesh. And then he told you that not one jot, one tittle is going to pass away from the law that he gave down to the children of Israel and the stranger that was there as well. And then all of a sudden he gonna die. He gonna get murdered. He gonna put himself up for a sacrifice, and then you ain't got to do it no more. Man, come on, man. That ain't nothing. I mean, philosophers got people's mind. They got your mind if you believe that. But one thing about it, we gonna help you get free around here. Exodus 7:20, Moses and Aaron did as Yahuah commanded, in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants. He lifted up the staff and struck the water in the Nile, and all the water in the Nile turned into blood, and the fish in the Nile died, and the Nile stank so that Egyptians could not drink water from the Nile. There was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Revelation 16:3, and the second messenger poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and everything living, every living soul died in the sea. Look at that. See, Revelation 16:4, and the third messenger poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. I'm just trying to show you this Elohim does not change. He don't change. It's the same one that gave you the commandments, came in the flesh, got murdered for you and me, and then now he's at the right hand of the Father, who was really the true emperor. And you're gonna tell me that you ain't got to do this no more? Man, stop listening to these people, y'all. That's why I don't even really do classes like this, but I'm gonna do this one. The Spirit put it on my mind, and I'm sure gonna do it. Was this for Israel only? Because we just heard the message. But see, Joseph Prince, that's for Israel. See, that was for Israel. Let's see. Exodus 12:38. And the mixed multitude went up also with them. With who? With Israel, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So the word mixed is H number 6154, a reb, mixture, mixed people, mixed company. They was interwoven because they was all mixed in together. And best believe when they said, when the children of Israel said, all that you say we will do, they said the same thing. When the children of Israel got circumcised, they did the same thing. Right? Now, Exodus 12:49, one law shall be to him that is homeborn, that's Israel, and then to the stranger that sojourns among you. See? So stranger, whoever you are, whatever you call yourself, if you want to get to know this Elohim, you got to do the same thing that he gave the children of Israel. Exodus 12:48, and when a stranger shall live with you, and will keep the Passover to Yahuah, that all his males be circumcised. That's the covenant. And then, hold on a minute. And then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat of it. So, and then I'm gonna finish the class on the dietary law, because we're gonna show you about these apostles, because that was nothing but dogma, or what they call an ordinance that that's not the commandment that we gave. So what? That's what you said. But the Pharisees was right on that one. They supposed to be circumcised. But then, but the philosophers has taken that and made that into, well, see, you don't have to be circumcised. That's not what they were saying. Man, that's what the apostles were saying. That's why I tell y'all, men say stuff in this book all the time. What you got to do is go back to the source where it came from. Go back to what the king said. And you'll never go wrong, because he's the one that has the power of life and death, not these other men. So join Strong's number H1481. Abide, right? Assemble, stand in awe, right? Because they all stood in awe of Yahuah, gathered, inhabitant, remain, abide with them. See, and in the spirit, if you want to, you got to be spiritual Israel. Even Paul told you that. So how you gonna be spiritual Israel, but then you don't do nothing that spiritual Israel or nothing that the commandments is telling you that you got to do? That's why it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be a sad day. Very sad day. Come near and keep it. See, he's saying all they got to do is do the commandments like y'all, and they can come near to me. Other than that, I'll destroy them. Because again, we already know that the Yahuah is not some type of cuddly, sweet toy to play with. He's a good father. He's lovable, but you got to obey him. Just like if any of us you actually had a real father. Oh, please believe, because a lot of us grew up without a father, so we don't really know what a real father is. And then that's what's wrong with these kids in these streets now, because they ain't got no real male role model, and the role models they have really is like little kids that never grew up, but they playing with guns, drugs, and money. So Strong's number 7126, Karab, to come near, approach, enter into, draw near. Wait a minute, enter into what? Enter into what? That's the question. Come near and keep it and enter into what? Okay, let's see. Genesis chapter 17, when Abraham was 99 years old, Yahuwah appeared to him and said, I am Yahuwah Almighty, walk before me faithfully, right? Obediently, and be blameless, right? Don't turn to the left or don't turn to the right. Then I will make my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers. Abraham fell face down and Elohim said to him, as for me, this is what Elohim said, as for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. So that's the stranger, that's Israel. I don't care who you are, as long as you keeping his commandments. I mean, he's going to show mercy from generation to generation. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be called Abraham. So we see that there was a letter, hey, if you don't understand this, please go look at the covenant series. You will understand it after that. For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful. See, notice that many nations. He didn't just say Israel, right? He didn't say just a nation of the Hebrews, because again, we already know Ephraim is going to be scattered amongst the nations, right? Understand this now. I will make you very fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come. Everlasting is everlasting, baby. That cannot be changed. I was talking to Jehovah's Witness. Well, see, that just means the spirit of, everlasting is everlasting. To be your Elohim and the Elohim of your descendants after you. The whole land of Canaan, where you now reside as a foreigner, I will give as an everlasting possession, because this is what turned into being the land to Jerusalem and Zion, to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their Elohim. But Israel didn't want no Elohim. They want to still be like the nation, just like they do right now. Then Elohim said to Abraham, as for you, you must keep my covenant and your descendants after you for the generations to come. See, this is my covenant with you and your descendants after you. The covenant you are to keep. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You are to undergo circumcision, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. So this is another covenant for them to even get to the point before they can get married and take the marriage vows. For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household or bought with money from a foreigner, which is a stranger, those who are not your offspring, whether born in your household or bought with your money. They must be circumcised. My covenant in your flesh is to be an everlasting covenant, and any uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Now, when we look at this word cut off in Strong's number H3772, kara, it means cut off, cut down, cut off a body part, cut out, eliminate, kill, destroy. So it ain't just being cut off and nobody gonna talk to you no more. No, this person should be eliminated, killed, destroyed. This is the Elohim that you serve. See, we trying to snap you out of this philosophy, because the philosophy is going to get you eliminated, killed, or destroyed. Just that simple. Let's keep moving. We ain't got but 30 minutes. We got 9 more minutes, and I'm not trying to go too fast. Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised, y'all, in the flesh of his foreskin. So this brother believed this. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And the self same day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of the stranger even, were circumcised with him. So we starting to see this is just not a thing for Israel. This is for everybody that wants to understand the Elohim of this Bible. Period. Let's keep moving. We got a lot to do, baby. Faithfulness brings about blessing. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee. And I will bless thee. That's what he's talking. He's talking to Abraham now. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform an oath. Oh, snap! What does that mean? Which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Wait a minute. So here it is. The Creator is performing an oath. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of the heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Why? Because Israel was the one that's supposed to be bringing all the rest of the sons of Adam to this whole thing in the first place, so that they understand who the Creator is. They understand who the Father of all creation is. They understand that the Ruach is what you need to understand these words, because this book is coded. You understand what I'm saying? This is what Israel was supposed to be doing. Not some philosophers, because that's who got this thing twisted upside down. But why is that, Saul? Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. That's why the faithfulness brings about blessing. This is why he made an oath with this man, because of these things. Now, where was Moses? He wasn't even born then. So how did this man know how to do this? Goes back to the Melchizedek order that was passed down from generation to generation, y'all. This thing never goes away. It's other things that go away. These philosophers, the scribe philosophers, have done so much damage to this New Testament, it's unbelievable. But we're gonna help you with that. Hebrews 6 and 13, Paul broke it down even further so that you really can understand. When Yahuah made his promise to Abraham, since he had no one greater to swear by, because he swore by himself, saying, I will surely bless you and multiply your descendants. Now, this is an oath. If the Creator took a vow, cannot be broken, baby. Cannot be broken, y'all. And the scriptures foreseeing that Yahuah would justify the heathen through faith. So even a stranger or anybody else that wants to come is justified through faith, which is obedience to the commandments. Preach before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in thee shall all nations be blessed. See, Paul, that's what I'm just trying to show y'all this, is because they keep trying to pretend like this is like a new thing. It's not a new thing. At the time of the Mashiach and the time when Paul was writing these letters and Peter wrote his letters and John was seeing these visions, there was no thing called a New Testament. All they had was Torah from Genesis to Malachi. But they're keeping you out of that part of the book. And that's the problem. So I'm hoping you got ears to hear and you're looking at this, so you should have eyes to see. If you want to remain blind, ain't nothing I can do for you. Now, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So we see that he kept all covenants and all tokens. And a token, if you want to look this word up, it's a sign between you and the Creator, saying that by you doing these things, you belong to me. By you doing these things, you are my friend. See? And it's a warning involved in that too, because if you don't do these things, I'm going to destroy you. Exodus 31 and 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. That goes for the stranger as well. We just read that. One law shall be for all. Ezekiel 20 and 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbath to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahuah that sanctify them. Can't get around from it, baby. You can't escape. There is no escape. If he don't tap you up now, guess what? When you die, because again, we all got that set time. See? And all of a sudden you wake up and you ain't in Abraham's bosom, it's on. Because, I mean, by the time everything is over with, that's what he gonna ask you. But I mean, what was on your mind that you didn't feel like you had to obey me, your king, your creator? I hope you got an answer for that. Right? Now let's look at this. Second Chronicles, and in it have I put the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahuah that he made with the children of Israel. And he stood before the altar of Yahuah in the presence of all the congregation of Israel and spread forth his hand. Now, this is a prayer that Solomon made. Now, because I'm showing you up here, you know, if you know what was in the ark, the covenant commandments was right there inside the ark, above the mercy seat where he sat to commune with Moshe. I mean, this is like his throne on earth. And it's that important for him to have it inside of his throne. Man, think about what I'm saying to you, y'all. All right, we almost there. We almost there. Now, there above the cover between the two cherubim that are over the ark of the covenant law, I will meet with you and give you all my commands for the Israelites and the stranger that sojourns with him and all that seek his face. So here it is. See, you had the manna, you had Aaron's rod in here. See, all these things was set apart for the children of Israel. So they were so important to the one that created you. He wanted you to put them inside the ark. That's why this is called the Ark of the Covenant. 10 commandments of the covenant, or the ark, or the commandments or the covenant that's inside of the ark, or the ark of the covenant. However you want to look at it. And you keep talking about this is Moses' law, bruh. You got to be a philosopher. But then you're gonna turn around and try to speak a little bit of Hebrew, you know, with even though it's Yiddish and Jewish, Adonai. That's some craziness because they don't want to say the powerful name of Yahuah, or Yahuah, however you want to say it. And you got brothers that say Ahaya, I am. I have no problem with none of them. But Adonai, I got a problem with that. But that's a whole nother lesson. But let's look at this. This is how important they are to him. Don't you think they ought to be important to you? Okay. Well, we say don't let nobody mess you up with their vain philosophies. All right. 2 Chronicles 6:29. Let's look at this prayer and then we're gonna stop because we don't want to go over. Then what prayer or what supplications whosoever shall be made of any man of all thy people Israel. So anybody that wants to pray to him, any man, or I mean, even as the people, when everyone shall know his own sword, his own grief, and shall spread forth his hands in this house. This is when he had built the new temple. Then hear thou from heaven thy dwelling place, and forgive and render to every man according to all his ways, which is going to happen in the end anyway. So if you don't turn from the left or the right, you straight. But if you turn from the left or you turn from the right, you need to get on the path. Leave these philosophers alone, whose heart thou knowest, for thou only knowest the hearts of the children of men. He the only one. I can't look at nobody and tell what they're thinking about me, but he can. Now watch this. That they may fear you to walk in thy ways, so long as they live in the land which thou givest unto our fathers. See, you got to walk in his ways. When you walk in his ways, you're not going to turn to the left or the right. That's what that means. Moreover, concerning the stranger. Wait a minute. So Solomon was talking about the stranger too? Of course, which is not of thy people Israel, but has come from a far country for thy great name's sake, because they understand. Wait a minute. This Jesus, that ain't, we don't even know who that is. That ain't even know the God. Who is that? Lord, that ain't nothing. We know about this great name because we've heard about the fame of it all through the earth. And thy mighty hand and thy stretched out arm, if they come and pray in this house, then hear thou from heaven, even from thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, that all people of the earth may know thy name and fear thee as doth the people Israel, and may know that this house which I have built is called by thy name. Bam! So that just kills everything that this liar had to say. See? Acts 2:5, and there were dwellings at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven, right? Phrygia, Pamphylia in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. Everybody was here. So you had the nations, you had all Israel that's scattered all over the place. You got the Jews that were, or really just they should just say Judah, but they do this type of stuff to confuse you on purpose. They should just say Judah and and the house of Judah and the house of Israel. That's how they could have translated it, but they had another agenda. So we see the word proselytes is Greek word number 4339, proselytos, a newcomer. See, a stranger, alien, a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Torah. And I put that there because they said to a Jewish religion. Ain't nobody coming to, that's what the Mashiach came to fight, was the Jewish religion. See, the Talmudic Jews, that's what he came to do away with too. Because that's who had the people in bondage. That's what the burden was, not the commandments. But you hear these philosophers say, well, see, the commandments was a burden because nobody could keep them. Man, stop it. So you telling me you can't obey your parents? You telling me you can't steal? You can't stop stealing? You can't, all these things. No, why? Because they don't want to keep the Shabbat or the Sabbath day, because they done made their day. They sun worshipers, and they gonna keep Sunday, think about it, as their day of worship, because they know the sun is Hasatan. He's the light bringer, and that's what they really doing. Because most of them is Masons, and this is what they do. And you don't even understand that. And here I'm watching the people while we looked at the video, the lady writing down some foolishness that he said, because they believe this. Instead of her just saying, you know what, I'm gonna look at this, and she ain't none of them got a book open while he's saying nothing. He ain't gave you damn scripture. He just told you some stories, and they wasn't even right the way he was breaking it down. See? But that's what it is, because you can't tell me somebody gonna be doing some reading saying, well, wait a minute, man, something's really this brother here, something wrong with this. Isaiah 56:6. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh, right? Yahweh, to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servant, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taking hold of my covenant. Ooh, see, because the Sabbath is part of the covenant. You see what I'm saying? If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat or the Sabbath, from doing thy own pleasure on my holy day. So it's not every day can't be the Sabbath, because he got it set apart. See? And call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh, honorable, and shall honor him by what? Doing this, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. You do these things, man, he gonna get that heathen up off you real quick. See? Therefore, the Son of Man is sovereign also of the Sabbath. So he's the Lord of the Sabbath, because again, he's the one that gave it at Mount Sinai, right? And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. Now I watched how TD try to be real slick with that. See, but it's made for man. It's made for the man. Not man. Man was not made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for you. So that means if it was made for you, and that you need to wear it. Okay, I made you the special shirt. Then you need to wear it. You wasn't made for the shirt to wear you. You was made for you to. It was made for you to put this on and to do this. Is what he's saying here. And the next Sabbath day, almost the whole city came together to hear the word of Yahweh. The whole city. See? That's everybody. So stop letting these dang on philosophers get to you now. All right. Now we're going to stop right here, because we're going to get to this, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or respect of a holy day, because I heard him say that, see? Because I was told that don't let nobody judge you in light of a day, or I heard that clear as day. And we're going to show you what that means too, because this is what they do. Like Peter told you, be careful of these jokers, because they like to twist these words. So with that being said, we're trying to do this as quick hits for y'all, because I want y'all to really get this. All right, we're going to stop right here. Yahuah, thank you so much for all your blessings and your kindness, Father. Even though we don't deserve mercy, we thank you for being kind all the time. We know, Father, all we got to do is not turn to the left and not turn to the right, but stay on the path and learn your ways. We can be in the kingdom. That's what we're looking for. So Again, thank you, Ab Yahuwah, in Yahushua HaMashiach's name. We pray to you. We worship you. We magnify the name of Yahuwah. There's no other name. We know this. All right. So with that being said, we're going to have to say shalom, shalom, until the next part.